So I will talk about two things. One, I was asked for to talk about Latvian game industry. I'm not a guy, and the second thing is about my company. But regarding Latvian game industry, I'm not a guy who is following like for tens of years and what's happening here. I started my own startup, and I know some last couple of years. But starting with the history, everything started in some kind of 2003 or 4th, whereas in Dago project. Basically, indie game developers were competing between themselves. We have some kind of criteria, some kind of awards for that. So altogether there were 5 contests, and then 40 game projects created in there. And actually some of them were very nice. What I remember for most fun was for me was Square project. This is on the top left, where usually Latvian kids were playing with football ball with squares. I don't know, do you have something similar in Netherlands as a football nation? Okay, so we have that here. And also some nice 3D projects. So it was the start of developing some kind of a community. And then came social game boom. It was 3 or 4 years ago. We have this Latvian social network, which is basically Facebook but for Latvia. And this is still one of the rare countries where our local social network is more popular than Facebook. And first games there were Africa and Ferma. Ferma is basically Farmville. And it was huge success because if there's a user base 1.2 million or a bit more, only Latvians, then with Farmville we get like more than 600,000 users without no marketing, without nothing. So maybe for big game studios it's not interesting market, but for as a local game development it was a huge boom. Everybody was making their social games, and it was kind of popular. Yeah, it's how does look our Facebook? It's not blue, it's more orange one, but basically more or less the stuff is the same. And about these 2 games, Farmville was very basic, very limited features, but as there were no competition at all at the start, as a new market, where people were going like crazy and picking carrots and doing stuff. And Africa was something like a Tamagotchi game, which was in the 90s. Was small little devices where you can feed your pet and then watch how it grows. And actually these numbers of users are impressive if you think that in Latvia there's only 2 million people. So getting 600,000 of 2 million, it's quite a good percentage. And what's happening right now, where people who are making games are getting more, and there will be a Game Dev Association. So currently we're under gamedev.lv. We have local forums, we discuss about techs, discuss about new games, and then we're forming an NGO. Also we have monthly meetups. Basically you get some beers, everybody is chilling out, somebody is presenting, so like a social event not to lose each other. And one serious project, what's happening, as I heard that in Netherlands, were universities who are teaching game development. In Latvia there is a problem. If you want to teach in university something, you have to profession classificator, game dev. And the problem in Latvia, we don't have such profession like game developer. We have a lot other professions, but not this one. And it takes quite tons of bureaucracy to make, but those guys are making, and actually there are at least one university, but maybe will be some couple next, who are interested to finally get this program done and to really to start teaching game devs. Here are the contacts for this, as I said, gamedev.lv, and then Twitter the same, gamedevlv. And about the structure, what's happening in Latvia, I would say, if I looked at previous presentation, Latvia is something 10 times smaller than Netherlands in terms of game industry. We have only two big, really big game companies, Amber Games, where we have something like in our terms big. So we have 80 employees, devs, graphical guys, and etc. And Innovate. And we have a lot of startups, indie developers, and mobile game developers. And in some couple of last years, we're getting more and more. So it will be next level, which I'll present later on, Mighty Fingers, which is my startup. And you hear it a bit later. About Amber Games, we're making more strategy. The most popular we have is 1100 AD, which is it's a strategy game, but where nothing happens as an animation. Everything is static, and it's like a more pop-up game where you add your resources and then fight with others. And recently we launched Strategoria, which is like more or less like Age of Empires with all cool animations. How can you attack a bases and such stuff. And Innovate. We're working with a Russian game publisher called Game Insight, and we're pretty successful. We're game My Country. We launched it in Facebook. I think it was 15 million users, and now we launched it at all devices like Android, iOS, also including Windows Phone. And yeah, just My Country is like city building game. And Ruler Kingdom is more RPG with some farming elements. And also we launched it, I think, last year autumn. About other game studios, as I said, is when the social boom came 3 years ago. There's Brain Games, which made Farmville, and then the next level with Oceania, which is Farmville with more advanced level, more stuff to do. And some recent success stories. And if I take a look at the last year, actually mobile in Latvia is starting to boom like it was in the social. Currently, what was launched in April is Fearless Wheels. We're #1 game in Australia. It's very interesting because Australia is somewhere really far away, and it somehow happened with a motocross site just saw this game, and they put in this Facebook on their wall that, okay, no news today, let's play this game. And all Australia, it was a #1 game. And I think we have our first racing game in Germany, I think also Netherlands, UK, and something like that. And Dirt Road Tracker, which I get to know actually last week. Indie developer, just one guy, made it from scratch in Unity. The main idea is also a racing game, but you have some kind of boxes, and you should deliver boxes from start to finish. And it has 1 million users, 1 million downloads. And if you see, they published less than 1 month ago, and they have really like a hockey stick. I don't know how it happened. I would like to see that guy. Maybe somebody has a contact. Does somebody know this game? Yeah. Okay. So we have to talk later on about that. And then some other games and game studios. For example, our company, we're making HTML5 game engine. Get Gamers were creating a game network, cooperating with, for example, Ask.fm, also Game Insight, and it also looks like things are moving. There's some board games, and in this last year was a lot of small mobile games, puzzles, arcades were published, Swipe-Bo, Plupons, and then some. So Hungry Rabbit, which was interesting because it reminded me something like Angry Birds in terms of a title. And what do I think about future Latvian mobile game? It definitely will grow. We'll finally, maybe we'll call us as an industry in Latvia. What I see, mobile is growing. One more thing is outsourcing. Because our company, we're outsourcing from US companies. We are really, we have really good cost comparing to them. If I have something like $100,000 or $130,000 in a year as a salary, I'm looking like more and more companies are looking maybe not to India but to Eastern Europe or somewhere this region, because there's both low price and quality. And yeah, we are doing jobs for one company from Silicon Valley, and there are some couple other which are interested. But I think we'll not scale up so much because it's hard to manage all outsourcing works. And it's also an interesting experience because you can work in a time zone in Eastern Europe, but whereas part of team is in New York and the part of team is somewhere in San Francisco. And when you schedule all the time zones and when we're shifting, it's a kind of interesting experience. And I hope, actually not I hope, I think that in somewhere next year or end of this year there should be a game dev program in a university, at least one, in Latvia. Okay, thanks. If you have some questions about this, I'm not an expert, but I can answer something. Are there some? If not, I will. Okay.
So for outsourcing, the expertise here lies in coding and programming. So you have an HTML5 engine.
Yeah.
So is that a specialty here from the game studios, or?
It's only for us. If you mean the technology is special only for us, for other companies who are doing also Unity and some Flash and something like that. But I will talk about HTML5 in the next presentation.
Okay.
So. And yeah, my company, Mighty Fingers, we founded 2 years ago. And at start we were planning to create games, but later on we see we're not only creating games, but we are making a cool HTML5 game engine. The main point is to have one code base and to deliver on all variety of platforms. I know what we're actually in the recent years, a lot of these companies, and I think you have heard a lot about Facebook was quitting HTML5, Vuga was quitting, but there was a problem with two things, with tech and with games which we are creating. Because Vuga created a game which wasn't as appealing, and they blamed just HTML5. And tech, the problem was currently how does it work? If you want a mobile application as a downloadable, so people were wrapping it in the phone app in some different technology. Basically what it means, you install application on mobile phone, you have this icon, and it opens a browser. The problem with WebView browser gets even slower, and there are problems not even with rendering, but with memory and a lot of other problems. So in some next 2-3 years, I don't think what we will solve. You can make with this WebView card games or kind of more or less static games, but nothing as good. But there's also second thing how can you do with technology. You can compile JavaScript to native iOS, to native Android. And our tech, we have built partnership with Cocoon, but there are some others. So you create a game on engine, you press deploy, and you can deploy Android and iOS. And it runs 60 FPS, very smooth, very great. Also a good part for our tech, we are using everywhere JavaScript, basically client, and server is Node.js, the same language, so you can put game logic in one file and share it between client and server. It's very reduced work of programmers, and also debugging. We transfer data with Socket.io, which is WebSockets, and if browser doesn't have WebSockets, it's go back to Ajax. And as database, we're using MongoDB, which is basically also JavaScript JSON. What we achieved, yet it's investment from Seedcamp. It's London-based accelerator / venture capital. We have partners Samsung. We made a game with them. We worked with 2 big publishers from Russia. Basically what we done, they gave us a game on one technology, which is either Flash or C++, and we made it in HTML5. And we gave it to them to publish later on. Also, we're outsourcing for US company. We're making a lot of mini games and also on our tech. And our engine is right now in private beta. We are planning to launch public pretty soon. Regarding our games, because of boom in our social network also, we decided, okay, let's put some games there. We create a city builder Metropolis, which is 100K users, and Mighty Digger, which is basically going deep into ground mining, and it got 75K users. And right now we'll put this on Android devices. So the same game will run also on mobiles. Some screenshots on the left side. There's a game which we created in a global game jam. So dungeon crawler where dungeons are made procedural. So all the time you play, whereas don't have a map yourself, it just creates procedurally. Some screenshots for our mini games. Basically, with US company, what we're doing. We have two universities, University of New York and Columbia University, and the rest of the team is in Silicon Valley. So we're taking scientists, what are neuroscientists, which are making good stuff on brains, and we're creating games and test them on people, how these games are improving your brains. So this is a good thing, not only relaxing, but also your brains can be made better, remembering things, doing faster, and such stuff. About our team, so we are people of 10. In the team, we're 3 core people, me as a business developer, previously programmer. Artur, he worked in some game studio which were making games in Android. It was #1 as a top grossing. And Mars is a really cool guy. Awesome graphics from him. Always cool graphics. So how did we start it? It was 2 years ago. There was a Garage 48 hackathon. Actually, from words hack and marathon, 48 hours you are hacking something. And we won Samsung prize with creating a game for tanks battling with each other, and you can play it from mobile phone and from computer in real time. Then we went to Accelerator in Finland. Very cool. Actually, as a game industry, Finland is but top, I think, from small nation. We have this Angry Birds, Clash of Clans, really good guys. And we have Aalto University, where we put containers, get some guys from Nokia, from Angry Birds, and then mentor them. Very great experience, and only then we understood, okay, not let's sit just in Latvia, because our initial plan was to put games in a social network in Latvia, but let's go to global. Yeah, and then we were so good there, so two Finnish guys, they sent us to Silicon Valley. They paid a trip for us. It was like, okay, super. So we met great guys from Google, Facebook, and then almost made a deal with a big publisher there. But yeah, this was the first time we screwed up and failed a lot of times. But for sure, when we come there next time with our experience, we can make big things. And yeah, finally we get seed money from Seed Camp. Actually, we are making on 24th of July in Tallinn, Estonia. If you have some project, you have to go there. 24th of July, go for 1 day there, and they give answer in some 3 or 4, 5 hours. So you present your project once. When you present, if they like that, you present it for a second time with more Q&A, and 3-5 hours, and you get 50k euros. So why not? And yes, this is all my presentations. So if you have some questions, you can ask.